A true Southern drumming legend is John Fred Young of Blackstone Cherry. Hi, John.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. Thank you for joining me today. Whereabouts are you at the moment? Where are you calling from?
So I live in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And so all four of us actually we didn't really fly the coop. So we left out on the road and started touring. And then when we came home, we, years, not that we stayed out years and years, but I mean, throughout the touring and stuff, we just, live with our parents, and then finally just, got places not too far from where we grew up. So we all still live in Kentucky. But yeah, this is home. I mean, I definitely, I grew up in Kentucky. I love it. It's my favorite place in the world, but it's like Chris and I say sometimes, like we were in Hawaii last year and doing a show coming back from Japan, playing for the military. And we were like, man, I wouldn't trade Kentucky, but he's like, it'd be all right to like have a little, just a little shack out here on the beach.
What do you recommend the one thing is that I would have to bring with me to kind of exist in your world out there?
Oh man, that's the one essential item that you would need to bring.
Yeah.
I guess just bring the want to see a lot of different things, because I mean, I get asked that question like from a lot of our fans and stuff that, when we come over, sometimes fans have been to America, so they'll tell you what, man, I went here, I went to Grand Canyon, I went to, this place, wherever. A lot of the great people that have, followed us in the UK and throughout Europe, a lot of them have, since we started touring over there, have actually come to Kentucky like for vacation. So, and that blows my mind, as far as like, there's America it's such a big country, and there's so many different nice places to visit. If anybody wanted to come to Kentucky though and visit, I would tell them right off the bat, you would have to go to Mammoth Cave, Kentucky,
right,
which is one of my favorite places, and it's 20 minutes down the road. And like everybody in the world that has some kind of crazy, insane, awesome place, I only go there maybe every 3 years. It's like living in New York, and like, you gotta see the Statue of Liberty, but be like, yeah, when's the last time you ate it? But no, it's one of the largest cave systems in the world, if not the largest. And they're finding, like, I think it's every year they're finding like, I think maybe 50 new miles mapped in it. Oh, so I mean, it's insane. But there's a there's a series. Okay, so my wife and I, we watch a ton of the alien documentaries, alien conspiracies, all the UFO stuff.
Yeah,
that's right. The Bigfoot, the Yeti. I mean, everything that is like, if you talk about, if you're at a bar and you start talking about it and people are like, what the hell's wrong with this person? That's where our brain lives on watching stuff and researching things. So, but there's a crazy show called Hellier. It's spelled Helllier, and it's on Netflix. And it's a show about this guy from Cincinnati, Ohio, who's a paranormal investigator. Anyway, I won't go through the show, but there's a crazy, to try to like ballpark it without giving anything away, I'll be honest with you, it's boring as hell. Like it is, when you start watching it, like probably 90% of people are gonna go, I can't watch this. This is taking my life away from me. But if you get into it, like the second or third season, it starts talking about the paranormal research of alien life, right? So, and it starts out with the guy talking about in eastern Kentucky how there was back in the 50s there was a farmer who had stated to the police that he had these little beings coming up to his farm and leaving tracks and all this crazy stuff. Well, anyway, so they investigated and the guy finally moves. Anyway, long story short, the dude that's doing this documentary drives to K-City, Kentucky, and he they're investigating the possibility that there are cave aliens inside of all these caves in Kentucky. I'll leave it there. I'm sure that every person that watches this is gonna go, "Yep, never coming to their show again. The dude's crazy." But no, I mean, look, it's a big old universe, and I'm just saying, you know, look, we like, I don't know, we only see 10% of the light spectrum.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of crazy not to think that there's not other life out there. I'm going to put my stamp on it right there. It's pretty interesting. If you can not fall asleep the first 2 episodes, it starts getting good, you know.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, if you come to Kentucky, I don't know, man. Just go to some of the caves and look for aliens. That's what I would tell anybody. You know.
I would definitely look under the sea as well. That's just my thing. I definitely think that there's aliens gonna be under the sea, surely. There's too much of it undiscovered. But anyway.
Too much of it. Gotta be some underwater, you know, bases where the ships fly out of. Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm probably gonna get a knock on my door in about a week. Just too young. Saw your Zoom chat. Can you come with us?
With Black Sun Cherry then, just getting back to the music, away from conspiracy theories. You formed in 2001. So I just wondered if you had to sum up this past 19, 20 years or so with the band, how would you kind of describe the roller coaster that you've been on?
It has been wonderful. I mean, if you had told me in 2001 as a 16-year-old kid that we were going to be able to, first of all, keep our band together and make albums and have people actually just enjoy the content, the songs, the music, the lyrics, the performances that we were creating, I don't think I could have fathomed what we've been able to do with it. I mean, we had huge aspirations, huge dreams, and we always said, like, when we do this, we never said if we do this. I mean, that's something like my dad always reminded me of. He's like, because he was and is a huge part of our whole, you know, Black Sun Cherry, you know, camp. You know, he produced our first record for us and helped us really like get the steps to not go in the pitfalls that, like, and the Kentucky Headhunters, such a legendary Southern rock country band. Like, yeah, they've been through the ringer, you know, and been the top, and, you know, had members leave and got back together. So they've got a whole history of, you know, the whole learning process. So it was wonderful to have family, him and my uncle, and the rest of the Headhunter guys to like guide us through. So, but no, he always told, like, now, you know, he's like, if we ever have some kind of like hurdle or challenge to get over, he's like, man, you guys are gonna be fine. He's like, the thing you guys said when you were kids is that not if we do this, or like not, you know, possibly this could happen. He was, you know, he reminded us, he was like, you guys always said when we do this, or when this happens, when this, you know. So we were very driven, and we were just, man, we had little egos that were like, you couldn't even be around us when we were teenagers. We were like, we're rock stars. We're going to do this. We're badass. We're going to the top. But I mean, we worked incredibly hard. I mean, we would get to the practice house, which is the old farmhouse on my grandparents' farm. Headhunters rehearsed there. We grew up. They let us, you know, rehearse there. We would stay there from, man, like, you know, right after school till 1 or 2 in the morning, go to school just out of our minds, tired, probably hungover. Yeah. And, you know, but that's what we did though. We didn't do sports. We didn't we weren't really the bunch of dudes that partied. I mean, yeah, we had hangouts and stuff, but it was there, you know, down on the farms.
In terms of you and obviously the boys, you have been the original lineup, you four, the entire way through your career. What's your secret to kind of staying together? Because a lot of bands don't last that long. So obviously for you guys, you're four friends and you're still doing it together. What is it about the four of you that you think keeps you all connected?
That is a great, excuse me, that's a great question. I think the glue that keeps the four of us together is truly our brotherhood, our love for each other. We have been, I mean, we were, and you know, we've been asked that question a lot too, because we're one of the only bands that I can think of that has the same four original members that started with those guys and you know, is still touring. But our situation was very special because Chris and I, we started out in kindergarten with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know any other rock band besides a band with brothers in it, actual, you know, blood brothers.
Yeah.
That have known each other that long. You know, AC/DC. Yeah. I mean, you know, or maybe, you know, some other bands, but small town. We grew up. You know, our bass player John moved from Florida when he was like in 8th grade. Chris and I were in 7th grade. Mm-hmm. Ben lived in the next county over from us, and we didn't even know who Ben was, and we had a little practice house get together one night.
Yeah.
And he came down with a buddy of ours, and like, you know, June the 4th, 2001. It was actually Chris's birthday. We started the band, and it's been us ever since. I think probably we, growing up, being with each other every single day, and I mean, we truly are brothers. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, we have each other's back. We've been through some crazy times with each other, you know, growing as a family. And the one thing I guess I'm most proud about of our band is the fact that when one guy has a problem, or one guy has, you know, something in their life that they are struggling with, or, you know, having trouble, it's like it's a team. I mean, the other three guys are just like, man, they're like a bunch of buzzards that fly in, you know, and it's like they pick the other guy up, you know.
Yeah.
But it's that's what it takes. That's what it takes to have a real band.
Yeah, that's an important.
And we're so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, I know people. I think now people are more. They're realizing that the touring music life of musicians is different than what it was in the 80s and 90s. I mean, like we're not trashing hotel rooms. We're not. No. There's not big, you know, drug parties.
You're not doing a Motley Crue.
No, that does not exist anymore. Nobody has the budget to party like, you know, any big rock band. But I mean, when you're, you know, there's things like, you know, I think, and obviously fans and people shouldn't have to even take this into consideration, because they should just love the music, and if they want to come to the shows. But I mean, there's a lot of things that go into making a band behind the scenes that it is stressful. It's all in how you handle it, though. I mean, as far as like, you know, like budgets, like trying to make sure that you know, don't overspend on a tour, but you have, you know, enough, you know, production to, you know, satisfy people, to give the most entertainment possible. And I remember on this last tour we did in the UK, we took, for the first time ever, we took a video screen.
Nice.
Which for us was, I remember it was laying on the, we did 2 days of pre-production outside of London at a big pre-production place. It's like a huge, you know, like the ceilings on it are like 100 feet high, and you know they bring in everybody from Lady Gaga to probably Adele, you know. And so here's our country asses in there, and we get in there, and they bring out this big LED wall, and you know, we used LEDs before on tours with, you know, bigger bands. So you get a cam op guy and whatever, but this is different because they the Live Nation wanted us to amp up the show. So we were like, well, what can we do? We don't do pyro. There's no freaking way this band will ever do pyro. Like, I can literally tell you, like, I'll never say never to anything, because who knows? But that's one thing we'll never do, because we are so accident prone. We are so clumsy. We use the cryo cannons, which those are, it's just burst of cold air, totally safe, but we've never taken out an LED screen. So we get this thing, and we come in there and we look at it and we're like, man, this is so far out of our league. Like, what is this? So we had our great friend was helping us do some video. Mike Rodway, he's a great cinematographer and director. He directed some of our videos for us, helping us put together some stuff for the video screens, and also a couple other great buddies of ours. And man, it was like, I remember using them, and they were insane. They were awesome. And I remember Jon was doing a lot of the work too, our bass player, on the visualizations and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it almost felt like just too much. Like when we got up there, they were great. I think people really enjoyed them. But it was something where we were just, I don't know, man. We're just we are a wild, just energetic bar band that got the chance to do so many great things that allowed us to play bigger venues and things like that. And I think that, like, sorry, I got away from the question, but it's talking about like behind the scenes stuff. Like, you have to think about, like, so there's budgets, there's travel, there's the artwork for new albums, there's social, like as we're doing right now, like social media things that, you have to think about, and interviews, and there's a lot to it. But I mean, I don't ever, and I know the guys don't think of it like this too. I don't ever think of it as a job. I think of it as just our life, because I had rather spend 28 hours a day, okay, doing something for the band to help grow this and be, smart about, hey, is this like, hey, what's a new merchandise? Like, what do we need to new cool designs, or hey, should we go out on tour with this band? Like, decisions like that all day long that I had to do anything else, because I can't do anything else, because I'm so geared for this.
Obviously, you mentioned you have been working on a new album, and you are laying down piano on the album, as well as obviously your drums. Can you give away any secrets for anybody who may be watching this and excited about new Black Stone Cherry stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what. So, yeah, I've been playing some piano here at home on the record, and so we started the record at the beginning of March.
Yeah.
And we were like, all this coronavirus stuff was just like, it was obviously, it was going on long before then, but to us here in America, it was pretty fresh. So, and the concern was just at that point starting to build. And so we're in the studio, and we're getting all the drum tracks done. We're going through the guitars and bass and starting to do vocals. And let me back up. We had no idea what we were going to record for this record. We had written 4 songs back in December. It was our last American tour dates. So on the back of the bus, we had 4 song ideas, and we kind of just demoed those on the back of the bus. And then everybody was like, our headspace was like, Jon, his headspace was in this direction. Mine was like in the middle. Chris was over here, and Ben was kind of in the middle somewhere. I don't know. We had no idea what we needed to make as far as an album and how it needed to, like, what the lyrical content needed to be, like what the whole package needed to be. Because I mean, that's for us, I think every single album that we've written, there's always been a common thread of like, what is the theme to this whole album? And not that we make concept records, but I guess at different points in our career, everybody's emotions kind of align, or they line up, you know, and we set forth on the seed to go, okay, this is the mood and the mindset of this record right here. This is where we're at in our musical career, so we're going to pursue this. This one, I think for the first time in our career, I can personally say, in November, I was burnt.
Yeah.
I was burnt out touring, and I hate to say that, because that sounds very unappreciative and disrespectful, and I do not mean that at all. Because I think anytime we get to play a show, you know, we should absolutely 100% like be so thankful we get to do that, to have the health to be able to do it, and also the fans and opportunity. But I think that we have played so much since the beginning of Family Tree in 2018. I mean, we just toured nonstop.
Yeah.
We were burnt. We were burnt. I mean, and Chris actually had something going on with his vocal cords where he felt extremely fatigued and strained, and he couldn't get the notes out that he needed to. And he's like, I think I've really got something going on. I don't think it's just being fatigued. I think there's something in there. So Chris went to an ear, nose, throat doctor.
Yeah.
Great buddy of ours here in home, and he said, yeah, man, you got a little spot in there. It's like a callus where you've overused your vocal cords. So, you know, Chris is like, no big deal, we'll get this taken care of. So right before the album, like, I think it was like 3 days before we started recording, Chris goes in, has vocal cord surgery.
Right, okay.
So goes in, doc, you know, lasers this thing off, and he's like, dude, you should be good to sing in about 2 weeks. So the first 4 days of recording drums, Chris can't really talk because he's on, you know, vocal rest. He's on singing rest for 2 weeks. So it was funny communicating with him, you know, because he can't scream at me. But the first day that we did the first vocal, I remember Chris was kind of nervous, you know, and he went in there and he started singing, and it was like Chris at 22.
Wow. Okay.
It was amazing. It was completely amazing. And his voice on this record sounds incredible. I mean, his singing is amazing. He gained I think a half octave on this record, and he's got a falsetto head voice now that he didn't have for years. He had it back in the early days of recording, like the debut album and Folklore.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, with touring and everything, it kind of, I don't know if he just stopped kind of using it. I think he stopped using it stylistically. And then I think with just touring, I mean, and the thing about Chris is the guy goes up there and is a powerhouse. So he doesn't sing, he's never had any vocal lessons his whole life. And so he's learned how to sing from his own muscle memory.
Yeah.
And, you know, and doing that, I mean, there's no, as we like to say, there's no CD players on stage with us. So we go up and play and sing, and whatever we sing out of key, whatever we play out of tune, you know, drop sticks, that's real.
Hey, that's like music, isn't it? You know, that's what people want to see. That's what the fans go to see, a real live show. You know, who wants perfection?
That's right. If you want perfection, man, go get the album, you know, and go listen to it. And I think there's a time and place for every you know, situation, you know. But I think that but yeah, on this record, like, his voice sounds incredible. It really does. It sounds like he's 22 or 23, but with the experience of a professional, touring, seasoned vocalist. And I mean, I'll tell you, and I think every band in the world's like, as soon as they get their latest album out, they're like, this is the greatest record we've ever done. This is the greatest. Oh, it's just great. It's the best, But I really do feel like during this record, when we were writing the songs, and a lot of the songs are songs that we pulled from the well, that were songs that, didn't make albums just because of the fact that, like, not because they weren't incredible. It was because either a guy at the record label said, that's not a hit. Shocker, that happens. And then they become hits. Or it was just the fact that we had to pick song A or song B because they were both like contenders, and it just happened to be song A, and then B got left behind. Yeah. So there's a lot of songs on the record that are stuff that we have, like gems, like just absolute mint gems that we have kept and held back. And there's songs that, like, on the off days when we're touring, like when we sit in the parking lot and play songs, like we'll be like, dude, play that demo of that, because they're songs that we truly enjoy. It wasn't like scrapyard stuff that we were we're never going to use that. So a lot of those songs are thoughts and feelings of previous records that were left over, and it's amazing how all those songs came together with the 4 new ones to make this incredible record. And I truly do believe that this is our best record. Wow. And that's hard to say. That's really hard to say, because I know everybody in the world, like every band, is like, man, our latest record's the best. But I enjoy every record we've ever made. I mean, I have enjoyed them. There's songs on records where I go, oh man, we could have made that better, or maybe there was another song that should have taken that one's place. But it's hard. They're all like your kids, songs you become so attached to them. And so essentially I wouldn't really change anything about any records, but I think that this one is the first record where I've sat back in the studio, and I know the other guys feel this way too. We just looked at each other and we were like, this may be the best record we've ever recorded, and we worked so hard. We microscoped every single part. I mean, we took 11 days to track drums, and I normally do those in about 3 days. So
right. Wow. Okay.
Just making sure that, like, every single part was a hook, and every single part was complementary of the vocals and the guitar parts, and the same with the guitars and the bass. Like, is this the right part? Does this part complement the drums? Does it complement the vocal? And it's hard making an album sometimes, because you can overthink that process. Yeah. But I think this one was, Magic Mountain. I get them all confused. Family Tree, our last record. We went for a. Yeah, I almost got it. Magic Family Mountain. We went for a 1970s classic rock, ZZ Top, Aerosmith, just badass Southern rock sound. Sure. And it was, a lot of stuff was just off the cuff, and it was, okay, like, here's a mistake there, screw it, leave it, rock. It's rock and roll. It's not perfect. It's supposed to be dangerous and fun. So that was Family Tree, and that record came out amazing.
Out of all of the albums that we were discussing, which album or song do you enjoy playing live the most, and which one do you think gets the best reaction from fans when you play live?
That's a hard question. I mean, I would obviously, just right off the bat, I think one of the favorite, the fan favorites is "Blame It on the Boom Boom."
Definitely. Yeah.
For me, I just feel like when that guitar part comes in, I think people just get a little nuts, and I love that. That's that energy.
Yeah.
See, I'm missing that energy right now. Like, I start talking about it, I'm like, golly, I just feel that, like, at a festival right now, or, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you've been to those festivals. It's like, you feel the energy of the crowd, and Like I miss that right now. I miss being on that stage, like fixing to walk out and, tear it up.
With festivals as well, because I know you said you're missing them. I know I'm missing Download as well, which was coming up in June. Obviously postponed until next year. You've played Download Festival more than 7 times. You've headlined Ramblin' Man Fair twice over here. You've played Sonosphere Festival and so many more. What is it like for you guys when you get the call that you've been given slots like, second down to Guns N' Roses on a Saturday night at Download Festival 2018? How does that kind of feel for you lot when you get that call that says, do you want to take that?
Let me tell you, that opportunity opened for Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
That was the most nervous I had ever been in my life.
Wow.
Walking on a stage. Like, and I'll tell you, listen, excuse me. That still doesn't even feel real. I mean, we like watching MTV when you're a kid, and seeing those old Guns N' Roses videos and listen, everybody loves Guns N' Roses. I don't care who you are, they're just the epitome, of rock and roll. But I think the first time we ever played Download was in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
No, 8?
8.
I think it was 8.
8, yeah.
Maybe 8. I remember. Listen, I'll tell you the truth. We walked on. Hang on, just 1 second.
Okay.
So we were doing. We were on Folklore, and we were doing a string of dates with. I think this is correct. Def Leppard and Whitesnake in 2008, but I can't remember if maybe we did that tour and then we were also doing Download for the first time that year. I think that's the way it went. I mean, I usually keep all the dates straight throughout the years that have been passed, but walked on. I mean, I knew it was a big festival, and I think the guys did too. But we were backstage, we're fixing to go on. I was like, man, gosh, there's a lot of people out there. Well, from backstage, the way they had it blocked off, you couldn't see the wings. So we're standing backstage, and for some reason, I don't know why, it's just magical the way it happened. When we walked out on stage, it was kind of like, peripheral. You couldn't really see, the stage was blocked. So when you walked out on stage, then everything opened up. And you saw the left side of the field and the right side of the field. And everything just got bigger and huge. And I remember my guts were just like, oh, God. Oh, so many people. I mean, listen, we still get nervous going on stage. And that was an incredible feeling. I remember, dry heaving when I got behind the kit. Because I was just like, oh, no, I never played for that many people ever. None of us had. So, but we have been so fortunate to be able to play Download over and over and play the Rambling Man Festival. And so many little cool places in England too. Like I remember we were out with Nickelback in 2009. And what a great tour that was too. I mean, the Def Leppard tour with Whitesnake in 08, the Nickelback tour in 09. We're doing, all the arenas and the cities. But I remember we had a couple days off, and I'll never forget this. So we're out there playing with Nickelback, doing these, it's Nickelback, doing sold out, arenas. Well, we have days off in between.
Yeah.
So we're doing our own shows. So I remember we pull up to, it was in Exeter, England, and we load in to this bar, and I remember the bar was downstairs, right? So it was like 5 flights of steps to get down. There were no other entryways into this club, and we were just like, dude, how do we get the equipment down there? There's no way. And I remember we were even like, man, I don't know, dude. Should we just maybe we should take our acoustics down there and just play, play like a full-blown acoustic set. Yeah, fans will love that. I remember our sound guy, Chef, he was like, yeah, no equipment. Yeah. It's just, we're being lazy is what it was, being lazy. And I remember our sound guy at the time, Chef, goes, listen, you guys are right now. He goes, you guys are being wussies right now. He's like, you guys, we're going to get this equipment down here and we're going to play. And I remember like, it was just like, yeah, man, what are we thinking? So we packed all this gear down there. And I think the club held like maybe 80 people, 50, but we got 80 in there.
Right.
And it was one of the coolest shows because the ceilings, dude, like the ceilings were here, you couldn't even, like, I remember Ben couldn't even really jump, just hit his head on the ceiling. But it was little stuff like that I remember over the years. And I'll tell you, this is the truth. I absolutely, like, I love my country. I love where I'm from in Kentucky. I love playing America. I love playing so many wonderful places we get to tour. But I'll tell you, there is something truly special and amazing for me personally in England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland. I just love it, and the people are wonderful. We have so much thanks and just respect for all the people who like our band and want to come to shows because worldwide. I mean, I was talking to the guys the other day. I'm like, we have the best fans ever. Straight up. I mean, couldn't ask. I mean, I think when you can remember, like, you see people online, and you see people like we have like our Cherry Heads, fan club, and we didn't even start that. So one of the cats that likes our band started that, so very naturally, we didn't start the Blackstone Cherry fan club. Pay monthly and get the autograph. They just started it like, Jimmy Buffett parody heads, whatever. But I don't know, man. We just have a great bunch of people that support us worldwide, and I'm so thankful because, I think every day I'm like, the hard work and the dedication that we have put into this, like, we're able to go out and create music and be able to tour and like, get like sandwich meat on our rider and like survive and just rock and roll.
Do you have a pre-show ritual? Something that you always do every time without fail before you go on stage?
Well, yeah, I mean, we get together and we huddle up and do a little prayer, send up some good vibes and just ask to, be with us and not let us fall on our butts. But I think like pre-show ritual, we are very, I don't want to say boring, but we are very boring. Like we don't. I mean, I think before the show, it's like we start getting dressed about 15 minutes till showtime because we're the biggest damn procrastinators ever.
I can relate.
Okay, so like Ben always gives me hell because he's like, dude, it's 20 minutes till showtime. You still haven't done your hair. He's like, you don't even have pants on, dude. He's like, get ready, get ready. He's Mr. Punctual. Thank God for Ben being punctual because I'm not. And so I go and like, start getting ready and no, we hang out, man. Yeah. There's a few cocktails made. We're normally just jamming some music on the bus or wherever if it's backstage. Normally we call ourselves bus rats because we stay like if there's a dressing room, we normally don't even like venture. If we have the bus like wherever we're playing, we normally just stay on the bus, because it feels like it's home. You get very very close to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's not too much. I mean, we just kind of, I don't know, stretch. I have to stretch and like warm up, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and Chris screams a couple times, and we're ready to go.
Cool. This is a bit of a random question, but one I've been dying to know. for one gig only, if you could trade places with any one of your other band members, who would you choose to trade places with and why?
You mean if I were to trade places with one of the guys within our band?
For a gig, yeah.
See, if I were to trade places with anybody in our band, like to swap instruments, actually, I mean, Chris and I, like over the years, he's come back to play the drums, and I'll go sing. Like we'll do like a Bad Company or like a free cover, and that's been cool. Like I've always wanted to play bass guitar, just at a like a Jocko level, like just insanity, be able to play jazz and rock music and funk and everything. And to me, like the bass guitar, I have some bass guitars. I've been practicing. I still suck. But I'm working on. Hey, now we're in home isolation, so you never know. Listen, I may come out of this like a lockdown. I may come out an awesome bass player. You just never know. But like if I were to get to jam with anybody, I mean, I would 100%. No other option. I would love to sit in with Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and John Paul Jones.
Yeah. And
just play a song.
Wow.
I mean, the biggest Zeppelin nut, like, for me, I mean, yeah. And I mean, listen, I mean, would I like to jam with Paul McCartney? Yes, absolutely. I mean, the guys in Aerosmith. Ben is a huge Aerosmith fan.
Nice.
I am as well, but Ben trumps me on the Aerosmith card. He's a big Aerosmith guy, and I remember he told me a story when he was a kid one time. He was in school, and some kid, I think it ended up being like a friend of his later on in life, but Ben had an Aerosmith shirt on. This was like in, I don't know, like 5th grade or something, And some kid was like, Aerosmith. He's like, what's that? And Ben's like, it's a rock band, man. Like one of the greatest bands. And I think the kid started making fun of Ben for wearing the shirt. I think Ben ended up getting a fist fight with him or something. But like, yeah, but Ben is actually a huge Elvis fan.
Nice.
He's one of the biggest I know.
Wow.
So he, I mean, if the King was still around, I like to think maybe the King is still around. Maybe he's out in Maui somewhere, just hid out, like I think so many people want to believe, and they're conspiracy theories, yeah. But I mean, what was cool? One time, Ben and I, this was back in like 2010.
Yeah.
A great friend of ours from around home had got to be a great friend with DJ Fontana, who DJ was Elvis's drummer. And so, which crazy enough, our friend Kenneth that knows, DJ passed away last year, so God rest his soul, but Kenneth knew DJ, and he took Ben and I to DJ's house one year, and we got to sit down and talk with him and talk about him being on the road with Elvis and like playing and what that was like back in the day. And it was crazy because like there's like DJ's kit of drums that he played on so many appearances with Elvis, and it was just crazy like getting to just touch him. I didn't play him, but it's just like golly, but yeah, I mean, we've had some really cool opportunities to meet people that we were highly influenced by as kids, and still now. I will tell you one funny story. I'm sorry, listen, I ramble, okay? I do, and that's me. But one time, see if I can tell this story.
I'm ready.
One time on the road, it was in 2008. We were in England. We were opening for Def Leppard and Whitesnake on that arena tour. And I remember our guitar tech at the time, David, was like, man, we came off stage. He goes, you guys are not going to believe this. He goes, Richie Sambora and Jimmy Page were just watching you guys play. And we were like, dude, no, they were not. You're drunk. No. He's like, no, dude, I swear they were watching you guys play. And we were like, just blown away. But anyway, so we're in the dressing room, and this was at Wembley. arena. And I remember Chris rushes in. He's like, dude. He's like, I'll try to do Chris's voice. He goes, man, I swear, Jimmy Page is outside standing in the hallway. He just told me he loves our band. And I said, Jimmy, hang on just a second. I got to go get our band. He said, they're going to after flip out. So sure enough, we rushed out there like a bunch of kids, you know, and there's Jimmy Page. And we're trying to be cool. We're trying to be like, hey, man, how you doing? Like inside, just melting down, falling apart, you know, trying not to cry. And so I just like, he was awesome. One of the coolest guys. Talked to us for probably 20 minutes and was talking about like, you know, watching the show. And Richie Sambora was awesome too. He was killer.
Yeah.
And I remember we had, so if it could have left there, then it's just, you know, memory that we have, you know, for the rest of our lives. Oh, we got to meet Jimmy Page. One of our friends, an older guy at the time, flew over from America to see the shows. And he's a big rock fan, totally like into all kinds of music. And so he comes in, finds out we met Jimmy Page. He flips out because he didn't get to meet him. And he's like, man, he's like, man, please, dear God, can we go back out there? Can we meet him? And I'm like, man, I don't know. My cousin at the time was out selling merchandise with us, and he did not get to meet Jimmy as well. So he's like, dude, I didn't even get to say hi. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it for you. So I took them both out there. Whitesnake's about to go on, and Jimmy is like standing kind of back, you know, being cool, trying not to like be in the spotlight. He's in the shadows a little bit, side stage. So I walk over and I'm like, how do I do this without just being that guy? And I'm like, so I'm standing next to him. I turn to him. I'm like, hey, Jimmy. I'm like, man, sorry to bug you. I'm like, but my cousin, he's a huge fan. Like he's right here. Could you just say hi, man? He didn't get to meet you back there. And Jimmy's cool. He's like, turns around. He's like, yeah. He turns around to meet my cousin. Well, this older guy flew over. He comes over the top, him and his wife, with this camera, and it's like on auto flash. It's just like it's like paparazzi, and he's flipping out. He's like, Jimmy, man, I didn't get to meet you, man. I love you, dude. Drawing all this attention. So Jimmy just freaks out and just runs. He just takes off, like darting back through the shadows. And we like our buddy at the time like jogs after him, and like I'm just like, oh no, this has turned into show. Anyway, long story short, we get security called on us. Wembley security. They're like, look, if you guys can't control your friend, we're gonna have to remove you and your parties from the whole building. Yeah, that's my Jimmy Page story.
Wow.
So, but I met him. I got to talk to him again in 2012, and I didn't bring it up. I wanted to be like, dude, I'm so sorry. Listen, but you know what? That's probably not the first time and last time that any grown man has ever chased Jimmy Page down for a hug.
Are you getting up to anything else in lockdown? Because obviously, just before that story that you were telling me, you said that you were trying to play bass and that you had more time to kind of learn a new instrument. I also saw on Instagram that you had been partaking in salad artistry.
Oh!
This decorated salad. So I was thinking, if Black Sun Cherry, for whatever reason, God forbid, was not your career anymore, would making salad be the next thing for you?
I am becoming a professional salad artist. The artistry of salad, yes. So, yeah, I've learned new things about myself during the lockdown. It's like I've started teaching myself how to work in my home studio more efficiently. Like, it's something that I put off for years and years because we were on the road, and like over the years, like I was so interested in recording and like working the recording programs, like the digital the workspaces and stuff, and like now it's like I've got this time, so yeah, I'm trying to legitimately learn how to play piano the right way, and not just like pick out melodies and things like that. Of course, we all write in the band. We all write lyrics and music. So, but I feel like I've always been a little, due to myself, a little like my hands tied behind my back because I've never made myself sit down and play the piano proficiently. So that's what I'm learning. Like I know chords and I know like scales, I can pick them out, but actually really, making the instrument become a part of you. Like I can sit down in a drum kit and like play and eat a ham sandwich and not think about it because of muscle memory. Not to say that I'm the greatest or anything like that. It's just I've been doing it a long time, so.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm trying to learn other instruments. Trying to, and honestly, listen, this is like it might be a weird thing for me to like expose, but I'm a huge fan of electronic music.
Wow.
Probably just because, yeah, huge head. Like Massive Attack, one of my favorites, and I just found out about them about 7 years ago. So, like, I'm learning and learning. But yeah, I love all that house trance stuff. The crazy, insane. Like, I mean, I collect old drum machines and old synthesizers. So I mean, I don't know. There may be some electronic dance music come out in the next little while from me. I don't know. Who knows?
We look forward to that.
I don't know if I'm going to be a DJ at Coachella, but I mean, yeah, I like it. I mean, I think there's a place for everything. Like I have a huge palette for music. I mean, I love blues music. I love classical. I like folk music.
Yeah.
I like hardcore rap music. Like when it was like back in the day, it was good. Like everything, heavy metal. I think being a musician is to be a well-rounded musician. You need to listen to everything, and I have an appreciation for so many genres, and everybody in our band does. I mean, we're very, very open-minded musicians. I mean,
yeah,
and I think that's what makes our band unique, because I think everybody in the world kind of puts us in that genre of a southern rock and roll band from Kentucky, and we wear that badge with honor. But there's a lot of stuff that the musical influences that creeps in, the Motown, the blues, the funk stuff, the early country jazz. I mean, there's the heavy metal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you listen to a playlist like on what we're listening to, it could be the Eagles, Lamb of God, Django Reinhardt, Hank Williams. It could be some I like to stick really crazy like it's like super EDM stuff on the when everybody's out hanging out playing. They're like listening to like a really like I don't know, like an Eagles song, and then like I'll get the phone and switch it, and it'll be like doosh, 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 doosh. Everybody's like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I dig it, dude."
Yeah, the real mix. Well, we've got time for a couple more questions. So obviously, I think lockdown is a big part of these next two questions. Have you got a motto, a saying, or a quote at the moment that you like to live your life by?
Yes, I do.
Can we hear it?
I do. It is a quote by Clint Eastwood, I believe.
Okay.
And it is, can't remember it for the life of me. It's like adapt and overcome. But I can't remember it. It's great. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. It's adapt, overcome, and improvise.
Nice.
And I think that's a great quote, because like at the times we're in right now, I feel like that's what we have to do.
Have you got a message that you'd like to pass on to any of your fans that might watch this video, especially during lockdown as well?
Yeah. Well, I would say to all our fans, thank you for giving us four guys, Chris, John, Ben, and myself, the opportunity to play in front of people, for liking our music, for buying our records and buying our merchandise, and just being supported and being friends.
Thank you so much for joining me. I just want to point out a couple of things. Obviously,
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. It's been really fun chatting. Just a couple of things. I want to let everybody who will be watching this video know that to head over to the Brave Words website. Blackstone Cherry are selling 2 special t-shirts, and the proceeds are going towards COVID-19 relief, and of course your amazing road crew as well. So please make sure that you check those out. Of course, you've got your upcoming tour as well. If it is or isn't cancelled so far because of coronavirus, in October, so hopefully we can catch you at a show soon. So yeah, thank you so much for chatting. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been wonderful. Thank you. All right, we'll see you. You guys stay safe. See you later.
Bye. See you.
Bye, hon.
There's people around us everywhere who need help, like you and me. A family was taken by a storm, and we just watched it on TV.